Yeah, 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 yeah. And I heard him say, nothing's ever promised tomorrow today from the shot.
Points, right?
Sure.
No, not bonus points.
No,
Cause,
not really.
Okay. You want to start with this one, or should I?
I think I can start. I think one of the hardest things to do, and I'm still going through this, is after a breakup, getting back into a relationship. I think you... What was that?
Getting different.
No, I'm just going to fall out of the shot.
Okay.
I think it's one of those hard things because after you've been broken by somebody, you immediately put up a wall to prevent any sort of further damage from happening.
Yeah, you're afraid to get hurt again after you've trusted someone and let someone in. And that's the hardest part about getting back into, like, either dating or maybe even a serious relationship or whatever, is you gotta be able to get past that, like, fear and doubt that either, sometimes it's doubt that because of the last relationship you're not good enough for anyone, or that just no one would love you, or that you'll love someone and they won't love you back. Any of those things can cause major issues in trying to get back into a relationship. And as important as it is to make sure you are willing to, like, take that risk, you also have to take your time. Don't rush into a new relationship immediately after just because you feel pressured by society or friends or family to do so, because that'll just end up worse.
I think, yeah, I mean, and a lot of the things we're going to probably say are things you've heard, or very cliche things. And I mean, we'll be as innovative with our phrase. Wow, I can't. Innovation.
It's from all that improvising we did earlier.
Yeah. That's what it's called. But I think it's, well, I think it's one of those things where you have to fall before you... And I've said this with multiple people, that the character of a person isn't judged by how many times they fall, it's how many times they stand back up. And whenever you do get broken up with somebody, if you take it hard, like, I've taken probably almost every relationship I've seen end that I've been a part of. I've taken extremely hard, and this last one, I would say probably took me 3 or 4 months to really get over. But it's one of those things where I had to fall before I realized that I could stand back up, and I had to rebuild myself. And I told Phil this before we started filming. The person that I am now is not the same person I was 3 months ago, and I love every bit of it.
Yeah, it's subtle, but he's definitely, he feels more self-defined, I think. And that's a lot of things that when you get into a relationship for a long time and it ends, is some people tend to define themselves by that relationship, and when that relationship crumbles and that definition of self isn't there anymore, they can try and desperately cling to anyone, and it can cause problems in those relationships if they're already existing, or just make them not happen in the first place, which will cause people to go further down in this spiral. And you've got to understand that it's not what other people love about you, it's what you love about you.
Yeah, I mean, if the biggest thing I've taken from the last 3 months would be, don't take every hard event as something completely negative. I would say any sort of event in your life offers an opportunity to learn something about yourself and to actually gain more knowledge about yourself. Once you go through a breakup, it's something where your first reaction is, it's something about me. And it's not necessarily about you. it's something that you need to realize it's natural, and you need to realize that there's an opportunity there to grow from it and become a better person from it. And it's just something that people don't really understand right away, and it takes a lot of time.
The more time for others, then everyone has a little different pace, and you just got to take what time's right for you is the main thing.
I mean, yeah, I've been helping a lot of people that have been going through a lot of these issues, and it's one of those things where I tell them it's going to take time, and they understand, but nobody really knows how long it's going to take to get over a relationship. Nobody really knows how long it's going to take you to get over that hump of being self-doubting, doubting yourself. And it's one of those, and I keep saying it's one of those things, it's one of those things, it's one of those things.
Well, it is one of those things.
But if I could give anybody that's struggling with a post-relationship problem right now.
My cat is chewing on its own. It's very hard to talk about serious issues when you're watching a cat chew on its own tail.
And yawn, that was pretty cute.
And yawn, that was actually impressive. Okay,
but
back to...
If I could give any bit of advice that I've taken from the last is I've found something that I find enjoyment out of, and that's helping people, that's music, that's other things. If you have something in your life... Why did you just smile?
I don't know, I had the urge to smile.
If you have... Yeah, by the way, and I know I'm going to get yelled at for being ADD about this, but we actually came up with a name for our group. It's, what was it, the Flaming Hair Flips?
The Flaming Hair Flips, yeah.
I'm Jay Beebs.
And I'm Pings.
And we are the Flaming Hair Flips. But I think if I could give any sort of positive advice is, if you enjoy doing something, do it. I mean, and that sounds really cliche, like I told you we were going to sound like, but if you enjoy something, if you enjoy music, if you enjoy teaching, if you enjoy playing the guitar, if you enjoy watching TV should be done at a healtty rate.
Well,
but I mean, like, if you enjoy cooking, if you enjoy anything.
Video blogging.
Thank you. La. If you enjoy
for the poor.
if you enjoy something, do it. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Because the fact that you know what makes you happy means that you are one step closer to being back on your feet. And that's what needs to happen.
All I have to add to that.
It's true. I'm not laughing at that. I'm laughing at the fact that Phil just sat there going, what happened? You got really serious.
Whoa. Okay, all I have to add to that is, in addition to the find something that you really love, and is first, take your time. You don't have to rush back into a relationship. 2, you have to be willing to take that initial risk. And 3, you have to find what you love about yourself, and define yourself by how you think about yourself, not how other people think about yourself. And Brian's still hiding from the frame.
I'm texting someone.
You don't have to be ashamed, Brian. The people out there like you.
Crap. No, I canceled that one.
Okay, well, while he's adjusting technical difficulties, we're going to move on to our next thing, which is when you're actually in a relationship, as opposed to out of one or recovering from one. Because these times can be just as hard as trying to get into a new one. I mean, sure, most of the time, relationships are good, but there are times when they're hard and there are issues with them.
Can I just make a point?
Yes.
I saw this on Tumblr the other day. Why do I feel like both of us would be like the type of people that would give relationship advice, but we never seem to be in one? Is that kind of accurate, though? Like, as bad as I don't want to admit that does kind of describe me.
Kinda, but I'm in a chosen hiatus from relationships. It's complicated, and I basically don't want to deal with it right now. I'm happy with where I'm at. It's okay, Brian. You'll always have me.
No.
Wow, that was interesting.
It just sounded like a wild animal. Go ahead with what you were.
The wounded harp seal. Okay. What's important in a relationship is what really we're gonna discuss next, and I think one really important thing is openness. And I know relationships work long term because you can be open if there is an issue. Like, not all relationships are perfect and then they have one fight end. Some, they have issues throughout, but they last because the people in the relationship can be open with each other about their feelings and address them in a reasonable manner. And if it works out, it works out. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But at least they tried to save the relationship instead of giving up after one issue because they weren't able to open themselves to someone.
I would say I've never broken up with a girl.
Really?
I've never broken up with a girl because I've always tried to work things out. And it's one of those things where you have to be honest with them. I mean, you're in a relationship with them for a reason, and that's because you enjoy being with them, you like them, you enjoy spending time with them. Just be honest with them. I mean, that's been the biggest struggle with me is I've had so many relationships have problems just because the girl wasn't honest with me. And obviously, I'm not speaking like I'm a perfect person, which we'll get
dirty son of a...
Well,
man.
Shut your mouth.
I said man.
Well, good one.
Get him right out of the gutter.
And we'll get to perfection here in a bit.
Yeah, that's kind of our wrap up.
But it's just one of those things where it's openness. I mean, you should feel comfortable talking to the person that you're in a relationship with, and if you're not comfortable with talking to them, then you might want to reconsider being in a relationship with them.
Yeah, and that kind of gets me on to my next point, unless you have something else to still say.
Not really.
Okay, I didn't want to cut you off, but it kind of felt like a good transition point. In the other thing about a relationship is it should make you happy. Like, that sounds selfish. At times, like in some contexts, it sounds really selfish that it should make you happy and it should be about what you want, but it should. I'm not saying don't let the other person be happy. I'm saying you should be happy in the relationship, and if it's not making you happy, which is the reason you probably got in it in the first place. There we go, got the words out. Which is probably the first reason you got into it. Okay.
I think what you're trying to say is the fact that...
I've regrouped.
You want to take over again?
Mental reformation.
I think what you're saying is the person needs to stand up for themselves and not let themselves get walked on.
That as well. That is part of what I'm saying. But I'm saying, like, if you can't feel open with someone, you might want to reconsider being in the relationship. If you find you're in a relationship and it doesn't make you happy, maybe you should stop and look at why it's not making you happy anymore.
Yeah. 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 And I heard him say, nothing's ever promised tomorrow today. From the shy like Tim.